A bullied overweight kid named Yuuya Tenjou has a daily life that is miserable. He gets beaten up every day at school. Even his siblings think he is a pig who deserves this because of his appearance. His parents also abused him as a child. Once, when he tried to help a girl being harassed by a group of men, the leader of the group called him an ugly, pathetic fat ass and beat him senseless until the police intervened. Even though the girl offered to help him, Yuuya pretended to be fine and walked away, accepting this wretched existence. Graffiti on his home labeled him repulsive, and his classmates tormented him while his parents disowned him for not being as attractive as his siblings. As Yuuya entered middle school, the abuse intensified. The only person who ever showed him kindness, his grandfather, died that year, leaving him a house. When his parents failed to take it from him, they abandoned him, forcing him to work part-time jobs to survive. Years passed, and on the day of his middle school graduation, while his peers celebrated, Yuuya's yearbook was filled with hateful messages, urging him to end his life. Fleeing from his bullies, they caught him and beat him in front of the entire school. Even his siblings found joy in his suffering. Arriving late to his job, his boss fired him. With the last of his money, he bought a simple bowl of ramen and stared at his reflection, seeing the same overweight and unhappy person he had always been. In a fit of frustration, Yuuya punched a wall, accidentally revealing a hidden door. Curious, he opened it and discovered a dark room filled with what he thought might be his grandfather's hidden treasures. Upon entering, a system message appeared, announcing he had entered another world. Menus flashed before his eyes, showing he had gained a conversion ability. Realizing he was in a video game-like world, Yuuya saw that he had high levels in all his stats. He looked out the window and confirmed he was indeed in another realm. Discovering various weapons, he picked up a legendary ominous sword and ventured outside to test it. As he nearly stumbled into another dimension, he gained level 1 in swordsmanship. But feeling the sword wasn't enough, he decided to try a long lance, imagining himself as a grim reaper, and even tried wielding a bow. Each weapon he tried turned out to be a god-tier item, but he remained at level 1, unsure how to level up. While putting the weapons away, a massive beast, a level 300 bloody ogre approached. The barrier around him held off the ogre's attack, nullifying the blows. Realizing he needed to act, Yuuya decided to use the lance against the ogre before it could break through. With all his strength, Yuuya hurled the spear, piercing the monster's core and killing it instantly. As the creature disintegrated, it left behind legendary items. The system then leveled him up to 100, but his mana was depleted, so he decided to return home. The system prompted him to convert the legendary items into money, yielding 1,500,000 yen. That night, while he slept, his body underwent a remarkable transformation as the neurons in his muscles activated, changing every inch of him. Upon waking, Yuuya was astonished to find himself with a ripped six-pack. Despite the changes, he was grateful the mirror was broken, sparing him from seeing his face, which he still found repulsive. None of his clothes fit, so he donned a mystical outfit from the sage's house that adjusted perfectly to his new physique. Stepping outside, he noticed his garden was now filled with legendary class plants. Before he could tend to them, a level 200 hell slime appeared. Yuuya swiftly activated his item box and released his god's spear, killing the slime with a single strike. Among the common loot, he found an epic rarity necklace that converted sunlight into mana, boosting him to level 150. Over the following weeks, he tended to his garden, trained rigorously, and began to forget his old depression. One night, while exploring the fields, he encountered an elite goblin. Blocking its attack, he leaped into the sky, infused his lance with mana, and decapitated the goblin. As the sun set, Yuuya realized that leveling up was becoming more challenging. Despite his growing strength in this new world, he knew the return to school would be dreadful. Converting the goblin's drops into 500,000 yen, he bought a new school uniform. The next day, all the girls at school found him incredibly attractive, even his sister. When he sat down, his bullies approached, mistaking him for a transfer student. He revealed he was actually Yuuya, shocking them. As his bullies grappled with the realization that the pig they tormented had transformed, Yuuya rushed to the bathroom and saw that his face had also changed, now making him the most handsome guy in school. After classes, his siblings couldn't believe how their formerly overweight brother had become so tall and fit. Suddenly, a car arrived, and a girl with red eyes stepped out, thrilled to have found him. She explained she had been searching for him to express her gratitude and had personally tracked him down. She introduced herself as Kaori and invited him to join Aosei Academy, Japan's top school. When Yuuya hesitated, thinking he wasn't smart enough, his siblings tried to make him feel small, saying they were better than him in every way. However, Kaori dismissed their insults, making it clear she would never invite such despicable people to her school. After investigating how his siblings had bullied Yuuya over the years, Kaori's words shattered their spirits. She then whisked Yuuya into her car, leaving his siblings to plot their next move. Inside Aosei Academy, a school where every student was considered a genius, Yuuya met the principal, Tsukasa, who thanked him for saving his daughter. In recognition of his bravery, Tsukasa offered to pay Yuuya's tuition. Despite feeling inadequate, Yuuya agreed to try attending for a day. Tsukasa introduced Yuuya to a teacher named Sawada, a renowned scientist whose classes were popular and easy to understand. As Yuuya prepared for his first class, he worried he might be in over his head but felt that nothing could be worse than his previous school experience. Upon entering the classroom, Yuuya tried to hide a stain on his clothes while introducing himself. Although he feared judgment, the students were actually captivated by his handsome appearance. He took a seat at the back, sharing a book with a girl who seemed a bit distant, making him worry she disliked him already. Meanwhile, Kaori wondered if Yuuya would fit in. As the lessons progressed, Yuuya noticed this was the first time students were more interested in learning than bullying him. After class, many of the girls speculated if he was an idol or had a girlfriend. However, a student named Ryo intervened, asking them to give Yuuya space, and invited him to the cafeteria. At Aosei Academy, the meals were prepared by world-class chefs and provided for free, which Yuuya found heavenly. While eating, they sat with another student named Shingo. When Ryo started talking about a new anime, Yuuya realized they shared common interests. Shingo then revealed they were part of the gaming club, surprising Yuuya as he had never been allowed to bring his phone to school. Shingo explained that teachers didn't mind as long as phones weren't used in class. Yuuya noticed other students staring at him and wondered if it was because of his uniform. Ryo then invited him to join them for video games after school. By the end of the day, Tsukasa asked if Yuuya would like to continue attending the academy. Recognizing that this was the first time he had experienced kindness and a genuine interest in learning from his peers, Yuuya eagerly begged to stay. As he left the room, Kaori was pleased with his decision and asked if he would like to go out with her. As Yuuya and Kaori strolled around the school shops, Yuuya wondered if she usually hung out with friends here. To his surprise, Kaori revealed she never had friends because everyone avoided her due to her father being the principal. Yuuya was the first person she had ever gone out with, making him nervous. To ease the tension, he invited her to have some ice cream, thankful that he could afford it by converting his game drops into money. Kaori enjoyed the ice cream, happy to spend time with him. Yuuya then worried that eating more might make him revert to his former overweight self. He asked Kaori how she recognized him despite his changed appearance. She explained that she could never forget his kind, honest eyes and asked him to call her by her first name. When he said Kaori, she smiled and offered him a bite of her ice cream. After realizing they had indirectly kissed, Kaori blushed, but Yuuya offered her more of his ice cream. Observers found them to be an adorable couple. After their sweet moment, Yuuya returned to the other world to continue leveling up. Despite his full set of armor, he still feared the monsters but managed to defeat them with a single strike. However, he had been stuck at level 235 for days and realized he needed to venture beyond his safe zone to get stronger. Thinking about his day at school, he took his first step outside, ready to face new challenges. Suddenly, he heard screams and rushed toward the sound, unleashing his spear. He saw soldiers' bodies strewn across the ground and a massive level 200 ogre general about to kill a girl. Yuuya launched his spear, but the ogre parried it. Yuuya then leapt from the sky, crushing the ogre's face and ending its life with a single strike. As he approached the girl, she screamed a warning. A massive goblin struck Yuuya, launching him against a tree. As his consciousness faded, Yuuya realized the goblin was faster and stronger than him. Determined to save the girl, he rushed forward, pulled the goblin away, and summoned his bow to unleash a barrage of arrows. He then summoned his sword, sprinted towards the goblin, and slashed it in half before it could react. Checking on the girl, he wondered about the other humans in this world. She fainted, and the next morning, Yuuya hoped she was alright after he left, knowing the remaining soldiers had likely saved her.